This is the morning call here on Africanews. I am Nyasha K. Mutizwa. Now we kick off the show, as Ruth said, in the Central African Republic, where at least 30 people were killed in clashes between militiamen and traders in Bangui. The fighting erupted in the capital's PK5 district after traders refused to pay taxes levied by militia groups. In addition to the fatalities, some 40 to 50 shops in the district were burnt down, along with several homes and vehicles.
At least 30 people were killed in fighting between militiamen and traders in a restive district of Bangui, the capital of the Central African Republic. Two security officials and an imam said on Thursday. The victims died after clashes erupted last Wednesday, the security source said, while the imam Awad El Karim said 16 bodies had been brought to the local Ali Babolo mosque. The fighting began after traders in a mainly Muslim district called PK5 took up arms to oppose taxes levied by militia groups. Bursts of automatic fire and explosions were heard on Wednesday evening and on Thursday morning, according to an AFP journalist who was in a neighboring district. The CR is one of the world's poorest and most volatile countries. It has been gripped by sporadic violence since 2014 after its then President Francois Bozize was ousted in a coup. Fierce fighting erupted between predominantly Christian and Muslim militia, prompting the intervention of former colonial power France under a UN mandate.
Our correspondent in Bangui will join us shortly for more on the state of the situation in the PK5 district of Bangui. But first, I'd like to remind you that according to several sources, the Red Cross will this Friday search for other bodies that could be under the rubble of the Mamudi and Mbaiki or Kokoro market tables. In addition, bodies of militiamen who were reportedly turned away by the PK5 mosques will be taken by the National Red Cross Service, which is planning their burial today.
And now to understand the current situation, we are joined by Africanews correspondent Crispin Dembassa-Kete, joining us from the capital of CAR, that is in Bangui. Bonjour, monsieur, et bienvenue sur le plateau.
Bonjour.
And so, Crispin, let's get right into it. Until late yesterday, there were reports of ongoing clashes at the PK5 district. What is the current situation at the moment?
Well, as we speak, calm has returned in the PK5 district following the bloody clashes of the last 2 days between traders and the self-defense group. Thanks in particular to the UN mission soldiers who intervened between the two warring parties, the fighting stopped early Thursday, leaving a disastrous toll. On the human side, sources close to Ali Babolo Mosque mentioned that some 20 deaths were recorded yesterday in the early afternoon. It's possible that the number may have increased since there were some who are wounded. The exact number is not yet known. On the material side, 2 markets in the area were seriously damaged by fire, which also destroyed merchandise, and it's difficult to estimate the cost at the moment. A reminder that the situation generated on Christmas Day.
Crispin, au deuxième jour d'affrontement entre les groupes armés rivaux du quartier PK5, quels sont
On the second day of clashes between the rival armed groups in PK5, how did the authorities in Bangui react?
Dans la journée, le gouvernement a publié un communiqué pour expliquer.
Well, the military, police and political authorities have not yet issued any statement on this violence. However, only the UN peacekeepers, MINUSCA, issued a communique during the night calling on the protagonists to immediately cease fighting and show restraint in order to avoid a new escalation of violence with disastrous consequences for the civilian population. The force has also announced plans to set up an operational base in the area, which says it's in discussion with local leaders and local authorities to, and I quote, reflect on ways of rapidly emerging from this crisis, end of quote. It still calls on the vigilante groups to be part of a community reduction.
So
violence.
The report is that the fighting erupted after traders refused to pay taxes levied by the militia or the self-defense groups. So where do these groups come from, and why are they permitted to take the law into their own hands?
Ces groupes d'autodéfense ont vu le jour.
Well, these self-defense groups have emerged. They emerged in 2014 in the PK5 after the withdrawal of the former Seleka rebels from the capital Bangui. Their mission at the time was to protect the PK5 population from the anti-Balaka militias, but over time they've increased insecurity in the sector through rivalries between them and imposing their own laws, committing abuses, and above all, racketeering the traders. And the traders cannot stand it anymore. They've repeatedly asked authorities to neutralize them, but there's been little success.
Well, we have to end that there this morning. Thank you very much, Crispin, for joining us on the program. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup à vous.